Here we go, back at it again, getting you ready for more action coming up on Saturday. It's a pretty great day from Kentucky Downs. Plenty of huge money-making opportunities. And by this point, we kind of have figured out how to play that weird track. And everything kind of makes sense. So let's see if we can kind of continue along those lines and really bring something home that is substantial this weekend. All right, let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to do is check in with what we have the grade 2 Music City Stakes. Saturday, Kentucky Downs, 6.5 furlongs turf. 12 runners in here of the, 16 that are entered. I'm only going to count 12 because the alsos usually don't get in. So in this particular situation, there's quite a bit going on. And I usually have certain criteria for what I want to use at Kentucky Downs. Usually it involves European form and breeding and experience over the course. If I can get both of those, I'm usually in good shape. But in this situation, I'm only going to get 2 of those: European, breeding, and experience. It Ain't 2 is the number 2 at a massive price of 15-1. This runner is turning back. So I like what they did going 6.5 at Woodbine. That was not bad at all in that field of 8 runners. And I also go back and look at what they did going 6 furlongs, York and Newmarket, Ayr. I like all of that. And then I see on the stretch out in that grade 3 event at Woodbine, and going a mile, showing what we call route speed, right? The ability to at least, if not dictate the pace, but stay close, either way. I like that kind of route speed turning back. So now they go back to 6.5 furlongs. They've got that speed, but they can also close. The only thing I need is for Junior to figure out how to ride the course. And Junior's doing almost everything right this year, so I think he'll figure it out. And when he does, we will be handsomely rewarded. It Ain't 2, 15-1 in the Music City Stakes. That's worth $2 million on Saturday. From there, we go to the Simpson, or the Aristocrat Franklin Simpson Stakes. This one here is worth $2 million. Another one going 6.5 furlongs turf at Kentucky Downs. 12 runners will be entered after they get rid of all the alsos in the race. In this one, we have some familiar names. Innovator was a horse that tried to steal away on the front end during the Triple Crown prep season. And so now this horse is going to try to make something happen, shortening up and moving to the turf for the first time. So that'll be intriguing to see what happens there with that former D. Wayne Lucas runner. And Antisocial in here. We've seen this runner before, Governor Sam as well. But in this situation, I'm going to go once again. I need to have the European pedigree or the breeding, right? And then I need to have the European experience. So if I can't get those, then what do I want? Okay, then I want something that can turn back in distance, maybe has some sort of an edge somewhere. Dream On has the edge as far as the stamina and the conditioning is concerned. Has been going long the majority of the time, but you can go back and see what they did going 6.5, showing some decent speed and sitting just off. Now they've been stretching out and they were closing. So now they turned back. I think that puts them right in the middle. And that great closing kick, and they have a little bit of early speed to get into position. I think that's all that Javier Castellano needs for Mark Casse. Dream On, 6-1 on the morning line. We'll get all of that probably, maybe even floating up a tiny bit, because horses that don't have experience over the course and don't have European breeding are probably not going to get play. So we'll get probably an overlay, Dream On. So 6-1 morning line, we'll get 8-1 post time for that race. We move on to the Grade 2 Turf Cup Stakes. This is 1.5 miles Saturday at Kentucky Downs, worth $2.5 million. 11 runners signed on here. Fort Washington is interesting to the outside. I don't think that he doesn't have an explosive turn of foot. He's a grinder, and I'm not quite sure if that's going to work here, but he'll get play for sure. Tawny Port coming right back. This will be a very interesting runner. Going to be trying to make the move from off the pace. We've seen runners in here before. Mercante, of course, Grand Sonata. But I'm going to go with a horse that is absolutely proven to be consistent when it comes to making the move from off the pace and at this distance, and that is Utah Beach. As we go 1.5 miles on the turf, that's right up Utah Beach's alley. Loves to sit and make the move. I'm a huge fan of anything that's the offspring of English Channel, especially going long on the turf. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But you can see going 1.5 miles, and the last time they were able to win, Both times, a mile and a half, the grade 2 Elkhorn, grade 3 Louisville. Nice performances, good sized fields. They got a decent setup and they ran them down. They've already been at Kentucky Downs once, but that was back about 2 years ago when they tried to break the maiden, and they were right there in the mix, ended up running second on that particular day, and then continued to improve and get better and better and better. Utah Beach at 6-1 will get some play, and I think that, you know, Joel's only ridden this horse one time, and they scored together. So I'm pretty sure he's going to look at that and say, okay, how did we do that? He'll go back and look at that replay and be like, okay, I probably saved some ground, and I ran them all down. Easy, right? Easy. Come on, Joel. Do what you do, bro. Do what it is that you do. So that's 3 graded stakes coming up on Saturday. And in the last 2 shows, we've covered all 6 of those stakes races. 5 of them are graded. 1 of them is not, but it's still a great chance to make some money. So huge card coming up Saturday at Kentucky Downs. We'll get into what's coming up from Del Mar. Get to that coming up on Friday's show. But now we want to focus in, speaking of Del Mar, focus in on our play of the day for Thursday. So the play of the day for this one coming up on Friday, because the play of the day on Thursday was already scratched out, and we're not going to go back and worry about that. Buttercream Babe was the horse we wanted on Thursday, and that horse scratched out, so we just said, we'll leave it alone and go to the next one. Friday, play of the day. You know, this is a really tough race. It's a maiden event, the 8th on the card from Del Mar on Friday. 1 mile on the turf, maiden event, 10 runners. A little bit of everything in here, right? There's a horse, Imperfection, who's a really great closer that doesn't make up ground, which is weird, right? I said he's a great closer. Has a great closing speed, just hasn't used it yet. I thought about that and was like, no. Then Tyler Bays has a horse to the outside that has what I think could be controlling speed, but the horse has a hard time staying healthy, so I didn't really want to go with that. Plus, there are some sprinters stretching out. What I ended up finding was a horse that I think is going to be sitting right in the perfect spot and will be able to make that move, sitting just off the pace, now second off the layoff, and I feel like there's got to be just room for a little bit of improvement, and if they can get that from French Moonlight, I think we'll be in a great spot. 3-year-old daughter of Liam's Map, and you can see that performance there last time out. July 25th, they sat just off the pace and then made that move, ended up running second. I do believe Lone Speed got away on that particular day. I don't foresee Lone Speed getting away on Friday in race number 8. I know for a fact that Tyler Bays will break for the lead from the outside, but Juan Hernandez has a sprinter stretching out, and another couple of guys have a sprinter stretching out, and they've got some runners in there that probably want to be forwardly placed. Horse to the inside might end up being the favorite, so I think the 6 will probably get bet, but I think we'll get 9-2, and we'll take all that. Can't be too far off the pace. Has to be sitting there in that, just right off whoever sets the pace, has to be sitting right off of them, and then get the jump on the closers who are unproven. They're all unproven. It's a maiden race, but I'm saying there are closers that have not really been passing horses in a threatening manner, if that makes any sense. So we don't mess with those horses until they prove they can pose a threat. All right, that's how we get down to business. Hopefully get our play of the day to come through and score after our Thursday play of the day was scratched out. All right, that's going to do it. In the meantime, in between time, until next time here on Horse Race Bets, I'm Ken Rudulph. We will see you then. Good luck and enjoy whatever you're into.